This video is about a leak detector, a brake line leak detector. If you're going to make a brake line and flare a brake line, like this, you're going to flare it at the end. Sometimes you may not be sure whether or not it will leak brake fluid. So what I've done is I've created a brake line leak detector. I'll show you the components. This vacuum gun, handheld, this little hose. I connected it to another hose because one was smaller than the other. I can use one of these bits to ream it, to make it a little bit larger, to make it fit. And then over here on the other end, I took a known working brake line, cut it off, left the other piece on, as you can see. Cut this end off and then flared this end, a single flare, using this tool and that tool. This thing made it wider. That's all it means. If you flare it, you make it wider. I'm not sure without taking this thing apart whether or not I can show you, but you cut this off and then you use that tool and it makes the pipe actually wider at that point. The reason why I did this is so the hose would get a nice tight seal, because it would slide up and down this, but when that thing's bent outward, that end, it's a nice tight seal. So anyway, from here I connected it to a union, a brake line union, which are, this is where I got them. And then I connected a line that, let's say, that I make. So I've already flared it, done all, there's other videos and tell you how to do it, or you can just read a book or something, but mainly I flared it. Okay, on this end, I did a flare this end, and I flared this end. And then I connected it to another union. And over here is a plug. This is a plug. It fits the union. So make sure the plug you get fits the union. I don't have another plug, and I think I found this off eBay. I think most of them I found off eBay or Amazon. Probably Amazon, some of this stuff. The plug is probably off Amazon. Unions might have been off Amazon or eBay. So I'm going to disconnect this here. If I can. There, I'm going to slide it right off. Okay, now the vacuum is at 0. As you can see, you can probably see the flare that I did a little bit. There's the flare. See how it's not the same width at the end? Because I used that tool over there to make this. So anyway, I'm going to slide this back on with one hand and a foot, if I possibly can. Okay, then I'm going to slide it down far enough. That should be far enough. Now, the purpose of this thing is to test whether or not this brake line, which I make, whichever type of brake lines you make, you should be able to use this tool. So anyway, here's the final test. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Watch the gauge. That gauge is not moving. It shouldn't move. If it's moving, this is leaking here, this is leaking here, this could be leaking here, or at these connections it could be leaking. You need to tighten them more, or over here. At the plug, I used one of these hex bits, the screwdriver, and held this down right here, and then on the end I used this to tighten it. This is a 10mm wrench here, so when you tighten this section, you hold one wrench here and you put the other smaller wrench here and tighten. Same thing over here. Tighten, tighten. Now I bought this, by the way, just so still holding, still holding, still holding. Remember, this is air. It's not even liquid. So the liquid, I think air would have a better chance of leaking than liquid. So this is a really good job. This brake line here, I think I got it from off eBay. This is a copper nickel brake line. Will not rust, strong enough. I believe these fasteners, like this thing I'm calling a fastener, these I think are stainless steel, which should handle, you might get some surface rust, but that's about it. This won't rust. The copper won't rust, and the nickel makes it stronger. So it's a mixture of it's a mixture of two metals, and I just don't. The only way this probably would normally get damaged would be because it's rubbing against something, or something smashes it. This is a steel line with a coating on it. These will eventually go. It could take 10 years or more, but they will eventually go. And these are, I think, regular steel, carbon and iron mix. These will, maybe with a coating of zinc on top. Yeah, these will be hard to get out sometimes, and they'll rust and all that crap. But they work. This is built to last. You can buy this copper nickel brake line in a roll. You can buy these bulk, these little fasteners, brake line fasteners. Here's a bulk one. See if I can get a good view. Made in China, like most places, most things apparently. Here, if I can. There. This is what I use, and buy them bulk. Anyway, it's been ongoing for a while now, and I finally built it. Just gotta squeeze it some more. And there we are. Huge amount of vacuum. This is a JB Weld, by the way, in case you're wondering. Piece of plastic broke, but JB welded about 3 times, let it dry 3 times, and added between. The first time I added some JB Weld, let it dry. Second time I added some more and let it dry, and then third time I added some more and let it dry, and then now it's nice and strong. So anyway, there we go. You can make your own. You might have to, I would start with a gun and try to find a hose that'll match it up really well. Take this gun to the hardware store or something and try to find a hose. Bring one of these with you too, so you can match up both ends of the hose you buy. Maybe even bring a set of bits. You can just do the work right in the store. And then from here you can go on eBay or Amazon, buy these. Make sure they match the size brake line you have. These are called double flare brake lines. Means that they were flared twice. This is the first flare right here, and then another thing's done to it, and they call that the second flare. Just make sure you match up the sizes, the threads of the right in here. Make sure the threads are fine, and just have to find out what size your brake lines are. And you can probably go to an auto parts store or whatever, or do a search on O'Reilly or AutoZone to find out what size you need and all that stuff, and match it up. You can even so anyway, that's pretty much about all I'm going to tell you. So if you want to build one, go ahead. I'm glad I built one, because I've made these before and they've leaked. You don't want to go through all that crap and put them on the car and you can't seem to get the air out of the brakes because you didn't do them right, and you have leaks. You can also just buy them new, but it's up to you. You can just buy them pre-made.